Welcome to the show. It's Matt Davidson. I'm here with LL, Brian Gossett, Mark Henry, and our special guest, Coach David Beaudin from Nolan Catholic. We're going to jump it off. We're going to let Mr. Brian Gossett come in, and he's going to start off with Coach Beaudin right now. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Brian Gossett.
Hey, Coach Beaudin. Let's just, last year we know about your defense and some good kids there with Nana and Chance Cover, and but we might not know a lot about the names on offense. You mentioned Luke Macias at quarterback. I've seen his name a couple times, but what's kind of the offense look like this upcoming season in 2018?
Sure. Well, first off, thank all of you for having me. I think it's great with what you guys do for high school football. But our offense, our defense is dynamic. Let me start. I agree with you there. Our kids are working, and our coaching staff is doing a great job working on just relentless pursuit and effort, stressing that over any kind of scheme, really with the talent like that on defense. Really just got to let them loose and let them play. And our coaching staff is doing a great job, and our kids are buying into that. And that's really kind of had a big effect on our entire program, really, just that mentality of a relentless pursuit and effort and attacking every single day, and like it has a life of its own, and not letting kind of that play the next play mentality, but carrying that over from play to play, from day to day, and just getting the most out of each and every day. So on offense, our Luke Macias is a guy who has never missed, and when I say this, not hyperbole, he's never missed a single workout. He takes great pride in that. His teammates acknowledge that, recognize that, and it's really endeared him to the team. He'll be going into this year, when he completes this year, be a 2.5-year starter for us. Is not a guy that looks the part when you first see him. You may not think much of him, but he makes great decisions. His arm strength is really improved, but he also he's really extremely smart. Has great grades. He's got great leadership skills. But at the end of the day, that leadership is really what endears him to the team. I mean, he leads. He's a servant leader, and guys want to play for him. So our offense is exciting. It's now getting to a point we're heading into year 3. This is our 3rd spring. Our guys are fully bought into what we want to do, and we want to play fast. We want to increase tempo. We want to just have fun. I mean, this game is too. We're not solving all the world's problems here. I think we work extremely hard. We work long hours. And if you're going to do all that, you're going to put all that time into it. You got to be able to enjoy it. So Luke understands that. He works when it's time to work. He has fun when it's time to have fun. And I know you guys had mentioned Sam Hicks, Danny Taylor, Marvin Young. Those are some guys outside on the receiver. Trey King, and our offensive line. Michael Gonzalez is a guy who's played 3 years. Sam Adams is coming back as another starter as a junior. Logan McDonald's a big 6'5", almost 6'6" tackle. So there's some guys up front that we're really excited about. And so things are sort of fall, into place. We've got a lot of work to do and a long way to go. But offense and defense has been the most competitive in my time here by far. And they're really pushing each other and kind of raising that bar each day.
Yeah, I think if anyone's covering recruiting, 24/7 sports, they know about Nana, just great defensive end and linebacker, and he's supposed to announce his commitment here May 19th, coming down to Notre Dame and Texas. Is that any part of that? Does he discuss with you? Does he ask for advice? And I know we've talked about this last spring, but what makes Nana so special and so unique compared to anyone else that you've kind of been coaching?
Oh my goodness! Where do I begin with him? I mean, this is a young man who is almost created out of a machine. It's because not only is he, an elite player, one of the top players in the country, that's really that's really not who Nana is and about. He's a great player. He's going to make any program a lot better. Obviously, he's an elite player. He can go his pick of anywhere in the country where he wants to go. But we're talking about a kid who, in addition to that, has almost a 4.0 GPA. Is a faith-based kid who faith is really important to him. His leadership skills are unrivaled. A quick story, last fall, I come back in the office. It's late. I've been up in the main building. I come back in and, I'd heard some music going, and I'm coming in to watch some practice film. I go backside of the locker room. I hear a little music. I thought it was a cleaning crew coming through. And I look, and Nana's got a broom, a mop. He's fixed every single chair in the locker room, and he's sweeping the locker room. Now, this is a kid with every accolade in the world. And he did that. We had a conversation just prior to that to the whole team, or I had a conversation with the team about servant leadership and what that looked like. And we try and, around at Nolan Catholic, our school, and certainly our football program, try to define those things for kids. We had a great meeting the other day with our rising seniors on what leadership looks like. Because so often as coaches, we just say, hey, be a leader. We yell things like that. Well, what does that mean? We got to do a better job. I certainly got to do a better job defining those things for these guys. But for him, it just comes natural. People are drawn to him. Kids want to play with him. He challenges guys every single day. He's virtually unblockable, but it makes our team so much better, but not just on the field. Makes it better because he challenged everyone to be better men every day. And it's just so impressive to be a kid that age who was so locked in, who's so respectful, and he constantly praises God and his family, and it's just an impressive young man.
Last question here for me, Coach, real quick. Just Richard Silva comes in from Keller Central. Almost 140 tackles at a 6A school. He's only a sophomore this year. I mean, how impressed have you been since you've kind of first met him?
Sure. Richard is done a great job since he's been here. He's come, he's shown up, he just went to work. He's got a great smile. People love him around campus. He's praised leadership from others, which is important, I think, to endear himself to the team. And he can flat out play. And I think sometimes, he's going to get overlooked here early in the recruiting process, and I think that can be frustrating for him. And I understand why, because the film doesn't lie. He can play, and people are doing that based on his height right now. But he's a kid that's got size 13 hand. Size 13 shoe. His hands are big. He's going to grow a little bit. And even I tell you what, right now, if he doesn't, he can play at that next level and play at a high level. And do well, and he's going to make a program really happy. So we're fortunate that he's here at Nolan Catholic, and he's fit right in to our culture, to our school culture, and so I'm really blessed to be able to coach him. And I think he's a guy that plays. He plays linebacker, obviously, and I think as he starts to learn that, he can come over and play a little bit of offense as well, similar to what Chance did this year. Chance is going to play a lot more offense for us as he heads into his senior year, and I see Richard sort of in a similar role because he's just too talented of an athlete not to get on the field.
Okay, LL.
Yeah. Okay. So, Coach, I was wondering. I love the private schools. I love TAPS, and I think one of the things most fans don't realize is that you are in a really tough conference. TAPS for Division I has got some incredible powerhouses there. And y'all were recently, you kind of went through the realignment process. How did you feel about that for your team, and what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of that, and how will it change your schedule?
Sure. I sort of have some mixed feelings on it. Our district last year, you're right. I don't think everyone has a true appreciation for how difficult, TAP 6A, especially up north here and really throughout the state, how difficult that is, and how much talent in coaches and players. There are week to week. I tell everyone, I think the biggest difference between some, I think, and people might think this is crazy when we say it, but I think we can go toe to toe with anyone, and on a given week, and that's the top teams in TAPS with the top teams in 6A public school, and that's eye opening, right? But what we can't do is go week to week. We can't go 10-week season. We just don't have the depth to do that. Our frontline talent can match up, and but we just couldn't withstand that, for an entire season. So I say that's probably the biggest difference when people ask me, what that looks like, and it's really the whole dynamics changed drastically in the last 4 to 5 years. What you see on a Friday night between two 6A TAP schools. So I really love that week to week. It was a battle. It's certainly a challenge for us and for our kids to have a large district like that with with the 8 teams, and now we've got they split it basically in half, east west, and we still try to keep some of those natural rivalries. As a non-district, we don't play Bishop Lynch out of Dallas as a district game, but we play them as a non-district to try and keep that going, and we'll try and continue to do that, to sprinkle those in there. And it also gives our kids to see some different things. I mean, we get a chance and an opportunity to go up to Salina this year as a non-district game. That'll be a great environment for our guys, or certainly a challenging environment. Hopefully we hope it's a great one. But I know that they've got a great program up there, and obviously a great tradition and a real football town that people love it. So I'm glad our kids can experience that. Houston Kincaid, which won SBC last year, they come to our place to open up, and so just to kind of experience some different things and see some things throughout the state. It'll help us there on some non-district games, so I think that's a bonus. But I do, I'm going to miss that week to week challenge and rivalries throughout the large district. So mixed emotions, but we play the ones we play and the ones on our schedule, and we try and get excited and up for all of them. It'll be a challenge either way.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'm looking at your schedule. So y'all have Salina, Eastern Hills, and Bishop Lynch. So y'all got them. You really run the gamut. You've got some great teams that you'll be up against. And also another kind of challenge, I think, sometimes with TAPS is that there aren't necessarily the feeder school patterns that public schools have. So I know it can be, people wonder, where do your kids come from? What are their elementary, middle school path before they get to Nolan?
Sure. So the large majority of our kids, we have the Diocese of Fort Worth, the Catholic Diocese of Fort Worth, consists of 19 schools, and I can't tell you, countless number of parishes as well. And so we generally draw from those larger schools are the ones that make sense geographically. So there's St. Andrews down by TCU, St. Joseph and St. Maria Goretti out of Arlington, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton out of Keller, Holy Trinity up towards Grapevine. So it goes on, and those are sort of the schools that are natural partner schools and feeder schools. And then beyond that, we're not a K through 12, so we everyone's been the new guy at one point, and so whether you're a freshman coming in or those decide that they want a faith-based Catholic education and a college prep education. We've had a lot of interest, and I think the big reason for that is our kids. We've got really good players, but we've got really great kids, and that word sort of gets out there. And we've got kids who've bought into a team concept, and nowadays that's a really difficult thing to do. I mean, we're all guilty of it, right? Sort of with the social media age and being a sort of a me culture, look at me culture. We're intentional about fighting that every day, and I think it's worth fighting for. And our kids have, and that kind of gets out there, and guys want to be a part of that. So we've had a great number of interests. It's helped our school, and I'm lucky because you come to a place where you've got great administration, you got faculty that'll meet you in the mornings, and during the day they can tutor after school. You can email them at night on the weekends. It's a real supportive place, and they set up an empowerment program for these guys, and no one's going to do the work for them. It's certainly challenging, but they'll give them the tools to succeed, and there's a wealth of people that are there that want to help. Our biggest challenge with our guys is getting them to communicate with us, and then we can help facilitate that. So anyhow, that's sort of it. But we've got guys coming from, over an hour away. It's but for the most part, it's like I said, the biggest draw is from our partner schools within the Catholic Diocese of Fort Worth.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach. Matt, do you have anything?
So right now we're gonna let Mark Henry come in, and he's gonna ask you a few questions, Coach, and then I'll take the latter part.
All right, Coach. Again, I thank you for joining us tonight. First question is, you guys had one of you guys players end up getting a little under the weather, a little ill. Quarterback Brandon Reed, who came in and made a big impact on your defense last year. First of all, talk about Brandon, the student, and how he has affected your team in the togetherness and the closeness that it's brought. And also, Brandon was a talented guy and had the opportunity to probably play at the next level also. And talk about him as a player, and talk about what he's meant to you guys' team this spring.
Oh, my goodness. So Brandon is an outstanding young man who unselfish. So I'll talk about the football part quickly because that's really not important. But I think it's to be known he was absolutely a next level football player. Going to play in college, had high aspirations, and it was certainly realistic for him. He was on his way to play college football. Came up as a quarterback. We had a spot, for a quarterback to go over and play cornerback now on defense. That's a big jump, and that's not something that guys usually are too happy about. His answer to that was yes, sir. He put his head down, went to work, and had a lot of success there. Did a great job for us. Came in some packages on offense. But for a guy to be that unselfish and to be a team first guy, we knew he had something special right away. So really talented kid. Unfortunately, Brandon suffered cardiac arrest, and he, there was a point there where we weren't sure Brandon was going to make it. So he has quite the testimony. He through a lot of prayer. And through Brandon being a hardworking, tough guy, I think football prepared him. Had a lot to do with his preparation for this battle. For his life, I believe that, and just who he is as a person, and then his faith and his family's faith in God, and so really just impressive what it done for our team. I really, it's hard for me to articulate and to put into words. I'll tell all of you, and I've said this to everyone, I think it's important to worth noting, around our football program, we talk all the time about love, right? And it's not artificial. It's not something we just throw around. We don't just get in a circle and break down on, family and love. And we do those things, but we're trying to live it. And so, we tell our guys all the time, we love them. Like, I think, look, these guys are going to work so hard for us. It's important for us to work hard for them. It's important for us to as coaches, to love them unconditionally. And they're gonna mess up, and they're gonna be teenagers, and sometimes they're knuckleheads, but there are knuckleheads, and we're gonna love them no matter what. I don't care where they came from. I don't care who they are, who they know, who their dad is, who their mom is. We're gonna love them. And we tell our guys that, and I think when they first hear it, a typical teenager, you get the response, a little mumble of "Love you too, coach," and one of those things. Well, right. But eventually they're in a program long enough, and they start saying it back, and they start meaning it, and they start understanding what that looks like. And sometimes love is holding them accountable, and it's tough love, and it's kick them in the pants. But other times it's just simply saying the guy's doing a great job, and that you believe in him, that you put your arm around him. And the reason I'm saying all this is because what Brandon did for us is I saw teenage boys walk into cardiac ICU, each guy walk in there and say, "I love you" on his way in, and "I love you" on the way out. And they meant it, and it was heartfelt, and they were comfortable saying it because it's just who they are, and it's who Brandon is. And we got so many comments from the hospital staff and doctors, and they were amazing, and from his family as well, who are just the most amazing, loving people you ever meet. And and I was just so impressed that, you know, what we're doing that came to life. And if that was his purpose in going through all this, because I believe in that, well, then, you know, that's what it was. And Brandon's had a great attitude. I'm happy to report that he is out of the hospital. He just had his first day back to school yesterday after, you know, a tough road. He's still not out of the woods yet, but he was here. He was supposed to have a half day of school. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but he hung out the rest of the day because he wanted to get to football practice. He stole my megaphone and he coached the heck out of it.
That's great.
It was awesome. It was awesome. And so we might have created a monster. If he's crazy enough, he'll go into coaching. But I think if that's what he chooses, you know, he's going to be around this game one way or the other. And whether that's coaching or sports management or whatever he decides to do, he's going to be extremely successful. And that may be his calling, you know, and so we, you know, our guys are rallying around him, but he's given us a ton of energy and a ton of positive energy and just adds so much to our team. And so, sorry to go on and on about that, but I really, I can't say enough.
That's great, Coach. And last question is really kind of 1A, 1B question. Talk about who's going to pick up the slack, who I think should pick up the slack on your defense at cornerback, newcomer Sean Halton. And then who are some of the guys on offense that's been standing out here so far this spring?
Sure. So Sean, you know, he's been, you know, he came to us and again, he's come in and praised other leaders right off the bat. Team loves him for it. Really smart kid, bright young man, phenomenal athlete, and but just even better kid. You know, he's picked up, I think Thursday or Friday had, you know, 3 offers in one day, but he's got the big trifecta for all the military academies, and he can go to Army, Navy, or Air Force.
Picked up an offer from Cornell today.
Yes, sir. He did. He's got Browns and some other Ivy League. You know, he's got Fordham, and he's really starting to heat up. And all it takes is one. But to see the gratitude that he has, though, I mean, he's given way more to us than we have. And I feel this way about all our guys. They give us a lot more joy than we can provide for them. But just the gratitude he has to be a part of this community, it's uplifting, it's inspiring. And so I'm really happy for him, and all this newfound success for him is well deserved. He's a humble kid who works like heck, and he happens to be a really, really good football player. So that's Sean's story, and he'll do a great job there. And then on offense, we've got kind of, you know, like I said, weapons all over the place. I think Chance is going to move over, play quite a bit of offense for us. I talked about some of our offensive linemen. Also, Sean Migliaccio is another guy that played as a sophomore for us. We had a couple guys play probably earlier than we would have liked, but and you know, we went through some bumps and stuff. But you know, it's really going to pay off now that they got that experience under their belt. And so, you know, like I said, we're really excited about that. We're, you know, in a good situation at the quarterback spot. I talked about Luke Macias. Also, Jimmy Taylor's another guy who's going to be a rising sophomore as a quarterback who does a really nice job. Irene Gabanziza is another kid who's a freshman who's coming up. He's going to do so. There's talent, you know, all around us, and I'm trying not to mess it up, Coach. You know, so just make sure that we do right by these kids and love them up and hold them accountable and just, you know, trying to be the best versions of ourselves every day. And I think if we do that, we'll be in good shape. We're just going to come to work and do right in the classroom, the community, and the rest of the stuff on the field will take care of itself. All
right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Matt?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Coach. So here we are. We're towards the end. We've enjoyed your testimony about you and your team. We loved it. I mean, it's a great way to start off our first show ever. And for you to give us this gold, I mean, this is gold right here. This is knowledge. Knowledge is power. You're giving us stuff that we can use in our own personal lives. These are life lessons. So, you know, I'm going to ask a little bit about you, Coach. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to high school? Did you play football? And where have you coached at before this?
I'm actually I'm a Yankee, which I don't like that term because I'm a big Red Sox fan. But I'm from the greater Boston area. Grew up north of Boston. and was raised. My mom is a worker, so it's really all I know. She put her kids first before anyone, and it's probably where I learned that. Try to put our kids here at Nolan before anybody. Our coaching staff does an awesome job doing that. And also my grandfather. My grandfather is a huge influence in my life. So he's a guy who I really had no true formal education, but he's an Italian who came over and started 3 successful businesses. It's just I don't use anything in my story or anything as a crutch because I was extremely blessed to have those people in my life. So it wasn't always the easiest, but he was surrounded by people that loved the heck out of me and sacrificed for me. And so that's my story there. I kind of worked all kinds of odd jobs growing up. I've always worked since middle school. And then I went and was a graduate assistant. And I played at Merrimack College, a Division II school, not too far from that area. I was slow and short. And I don't know, I made up for it from being unathletic, I guess. But I was able to somehow earn a scholarship, and then went on as a graduate assistant. I had an opportunity at American International College. It's a Division II school as well, and became an offense coordinator. Bounced around that area. I was an interim head coach at Division II level as well. I learned a lot in New Hampshire, when Chip Kelly was around. It's a big influence for me offensively. And then I started a program down in San Antonio. Met my wife, my lovely wife, down there in San Antonio, and was there 4.5 years. We were fortunate enough to have a lot of success at St. Mary's Hall. Started that program from scratch, and I always kept a close eye, not just on this district, but Nolan Catholic, because it's really a blue collar place. Bring your lunch pail to work, and I was raised as a Catholic in the Boston area, and so this place was just a natural fit. Was fortunate enough to come up here 2 years ago, and man, it's been a huge blessing and a ton of fun, and my wife loves it. She's all in, and we tell everyone we've got 70 plus kids or whatever it is. So she's all in and a great coach's wife, and so I'm blessed to have her and for all she does. So that's my story.
I like it. I like it, Coach. So whenever you started and you took this team over, what did you get into? What kind of graduation rate did you have when you came in? And what are your numbers now as far as, your record overall compared to what it was? Have you been able to progress the team under your regime?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. We struggled that first year. I think it was a huge cultural shift. The staff before me had been here a long time. They did an outstanding job. I mean, their record and state championships, everything speak for itself. So those guys did an awesome job. And then, I think the dynamic of this district changed quite a bit, and the shift in power changed quite a bit. So when we came in here, struggled that first year, doubled our win total last year, and played with a lot of young guys through both. But I think we're primed and ready to, like I said, to kind of bear the fruit of our labor, hopefully. And like I said, that's not going to come just because we play with young guys. We got so much work to do from now to then, but feel really good about where we are as a program, not just in win totals as that's rising, but just what these kids are doing off the field, beyond high school, at the next level, in the community. I mean, they're just the volunteer hours, the service hours, the campus ministry, those things I'm most proud of those things. And really, if you ask me if we're successful, you can, and I'll tell you, and tell everyone the same thing. I'll tell you in 15, 20 years when I see what these guys are doing as husbands, fathers, and in their own communities and being successful in their own, being champions of their own life.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, how long has Nolan Catholic been around as a school, and how many kids do you guys have that go there?
Sure. So we founded in 1961, and we're right around, right around 850 to 900 in terms of enrollment. And so, yeah, it's got a long history, long tradition of doing a lot of really great things athletically, but also, through those halls. And we've got our faculty and staff is second to none, in my opinion. And, and I believe in what they're doing and what they do for these kids. Everything we try and do here, both in the classroom athletically, is, obviously preparing these kids for heaven, but also really just preparing these guys. We want to create fun opportunities and make this thing exciting. School doesn't have to be boring. Football doesn't have to be, just a drag every day. These things can be enjoyable. They can be fun. And these kids have too many things going on in their lives not to enjoy these things and these moments, and they're precious. So we're trying to do things creative all the time to just make it fun. We just finished the ESPN version of our we call the Vespies instead of the ESPYs, and it was a show to remember. It was unbelievable. We had a blue carpet to come in and paparazzi, and it was something else. So just things like that. We just wrapped that up a week or so ago, and our kids had a blast, and there was a big after party and all that stuff. So just trying to have fun and know that you can get a lot of work done, you can be successful, but you can enjoy the process along the way.
Coach, what do you think that sets Nolan apart from other schools in your mind, and a reason why you would choose to send your kids there?
The people. So, we've got some nice facilities, and the brick and mortar is great. But the people here are so invested in these young people's lives, every facet of their life. And that's the biggest thing for me is they don't get caught up in the machine, if you will. And that we don't use the word, in football, for instance, we don't say, hey, we just need a few more pieces. And these aren't pieces. They aren't pawns. They're young people with stories, and they're unique individuals and guys that, we love and care for. And so, yeah, I'd say the people around here are just amazing. They're experts in their field, and that's great. But they're also just care for young people, and they go above and beyond. So to me, that's the biggest differentiator.
Well, Coach, I love it. I'm gonna have to come over there for your guys' spring game. Do you want to tell everybody when that's gonna be?
Yes, sir, I do. I'd love to have everybody out there. It's May 19th at 4:00. Before that, there's the Powerpuff Finals that they take pretty serious around here. We wrap up. I think, like you said, Nana's going to announce his commitment that day. We have alumni 7-on-7. We'll have food or barbecue. And so there'll be a lot going on, and love to have as many people come out as possible. It's a great community event and a lot of fun. So the door's open to all of you anytime. I meant it when we started off. I do appreciate all you do for high school football and for these young student athletes. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for their lives, and I appreciate all your hard work. So you guys are in town, please drop in, not just for the spring game, but anytime. The doors are always open. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, Coach. Is there anything that you want to say for anybody to hear out there, to promote anything? Here's your chance.
Yeah, that's really it. I think, any opportunity, time I get to speak is just to brag on our guys. And I'm the lucky one in this whole thing. I get to coach some great players, but some great student athletes, and be part of a community that, again, is second to none. So that's really it. I just wanted to tell everybody, what kind of gratitude I have for our guys, our staff, our teaching staff and administration. It's just it's a great place and fired up. And so if you're ever in the area, or anyone that's listening, please come by, check us out. I think you'll be impressed as well. There's some great people running around. So thanks again.
Hey,
Yes,
Coach,
sir.
one more question, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned spring game is May 19th when Nana, same day Nana commits. Is he kind of making it, where he brings out two hats and he chooses a hat, or is it kind of behind the scenes?
I don't know. We haven't. That's a great question. I have to find out myself. I don't know how he's gonna announce it. We've talked quite a bit. I offer no. I never tell him, or our coaching staff tells him where to go. He's a lot smarter than I am anyhow. So I know he'll make the right decision. He'll be successful wherever he goes. He's got some great choices. But no, I don't know how actually we're going to announce it. I have to talk to him about that. The whole time we've been talking right now is just sort of listing a pro and con, and we just want to be here as a support system because it's a lot for these guys. As you guys know, covering it, man, it is, it's a blessing. And don't get me wrong, he's very grateful, but it's also a pretty exhausting process for these guys, and for some of those. Anyhow, it's a lot of stuff. So we'll get into that. I don't know, but knowing him, he's not really a look at me guy. So I don't think it'd be like some of the stuff you see on TV. That part might be a little anticlimactic, but it'll certainly be fun nonetheless, and we'll be proud of him as always, regardless of what he does.
Well, Coach, if you guys don't have anything else for him, I'd like to say just thank you, Coach, and we appreciate your time that you've given us tonight and everything that you've said. We've appreciated all of it.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Have a great
Thank you,
night.
Coach. Have a good night.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you too. All right, go Vikings.
All right, you guys heard it from Coach David Beaudin. Just want to thank him for coming on. So now we're at the point where we're going to talk about our prospects that we've been looking out for, that we've seen on our radars. And I told Brian earlier I was going to let him go first on this one, just like I did earlier, because, Brian is the heavy hitter out of us. He is the go-to guy. We have to give him his credit. He is a big-time sports writer for the Star-Telegram, and we're very much appreciative for Brian Gossett and the time that he gives us and spends with us, and we're thankful. And by this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brian.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate it, Matt. There's so many talented players this upcoming season to watch for. Two of the top teams I think you have to look at is Alito, who they've won so many state titles over the last decade, and you kind of start with the running back 2020 Jace McClellan, who's already an Oklahoma commit. He's got almost 5,000 yards the last 2 years. Jeffrey Carter's another one to look out for. He plays cornerback and plays some receiver. He was originally committed to Oklahoma, but he's opened up his recruitment. And then Colt Ellison plays defensive end. He's just, man, if you get a chance to watch Colt, take it, because he's just incredible. I know he's got a TCU offer. I think 24/7 Sports has him projected to commit with TCU, but don't be surprised that he commits elsewhere. And then Wyatt Harris, he is a TCU commit. His older brother, Wes Harris, is already there with the Horned Frogs. So look out for them, Alito, to make some noise and reach the state semifinals, state finals next year. And then Mansfield Legacy, you need to watch out for them. And they're in a pretty good district, actually, with Highland Park, who's won the last two state titles back-to-back years. And their defense is going to be really good with Jalen Callon. You got to start with him. 2019, other 2019s is Enoch Jackson and Tareen Carter, both on the defensive line. Plenty offers there. Jalen's probably one of the top defensive backs in the country. He's got offers like Ohio State and Clemson, and the other two guys, Carter and Jackson, have just been blowing it up. I think in total they've got almost 40 offers combined. So look out for them. I know Jackson named his top 8 the other day, so it's all coming together. Don't be surprised if Legacy. I picked them to win a state title this next season, so they're going to be really good on defense, and really they're going to be scoring some points in offense. But if I had to pick a couple schools, I'd really look at Legacy and Lolito.
We appreciate that, Brian. Yeah, I mean, so many good players with this 2019 class. And, I started covering high school sports a few years ago, and these 2019 kids are kind of the babies. Whenever I first started, they were freshmen. Now they're about to be seniors, so it means a lot to see a lot of these kids that I've been covering since they were freshmen get offers and get their shine on. Latest on my radar that hadn't gotten a big offer, that should have gotten a big offer a long time ago, was Kweilyn Jones. So shout out to him. As soon as he got the offer from Baylor, a couple days went by, and he went ahead and committed to Baylor because he knew how big it would be. And so he did that, and I thought that was pretty good for him. So shout out to Kweilyn Jones. Shout out to my dude, Solomon Kapaka. He's been getting a lot of big offers, defensive lineman over at Grand Prairie High School. He's pretty big. He's got a lot of offers. I don't have to go through all those offers. You can go look it up. But, he's about 6'3", 255, just the right type of build you want on that defensive end. But since we're pressed on time, I'll go ahead and give Mark his opportunity to talk about a couple players he's been seeing, and then LL, and then we can wrap it up.
All right, appreciate it, Matt. The two guys that I'm looking at on the offensive side, both class of 2019 players. I'll start with quarterback Shane Lawrence from Cedar Hill. I think this guy is about ready to blow up. He's standing at 6'3" and a quarter, 200 pounds. He's been going around to a few camps. This spring at the Nike opening, he ran a 4.65 laser time, 4.2 shuttle. He's also a track athlete. He's running a 22.5 in the 200 meters. He's taken a couple of visits to Texas A&M, Oklahoma State this spring, to name a few. Today, he, matter of fact, picked up an offer from Prairie View A&M and also Arkansas Pine Bluff. And last week, he got an offer from Arkansas Tech University in Arkansas. And this kid is ready to blow. He's not getting all of the notoriety because he had an injury last year. And Cedar Hill kind of fell on hard times last year. They actually pretty much almost qualified for the playoffs. But, Matt, you know this. They had to forfeit that game against Grand Prairie because they had an ineligible player. But I think this is Shane's year. I think Shane will be definitely one of the top quarterbacks in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, if not the state. He's going to be the conductor of that train. He's going to drive that engine over Cedar Hill this year. And I think that Cedar Hill will be successful as far as Shane can take them. I think that Cedar Hill is going to be a better team this year. Now, they also are playing in a very tough conference this year, which, some people would call a little SEC in Texas this year, along with a long-time rival in DeSoto. They also got Mansfield in there and Waxahachie. So this is going to be one of the most competitive, if not in the state, definitely in the Metroplex. But you heard it here first. Shane Lawrence is on his way up. Keep an eye on him. He's going to put up big numbers this year. I'll also be going over there next week to cover their spring game, which is going on next week. But Shane Lawrence, look out for him. Should be one of the top quarterbacks in the state of Texas before the year is up. And a little bit of Tarrant County flavor this week. Not a household name yet, but had a breakout year last year's Fort Worth Brewers wide receiver, Gerard Taylor. He's also a 2019 kid, 6'3", 190.
Wow.
He had a breakout year for Fort Worth Brewer last year. This will actually be his third year on varsity. Gerard is a multi-sport athlete. He plays basketball and also runs track. Big body receiver, catches well. He was their number one receiver last year for Fort Worth Brewer. And by the way, shout out to Coach Todd Peterman, who is taking over at Fort Worth Brewer this year. And I think that Brewer will be a team that'll rise up this year. And the Coach Wade Griffin did a great job with Brewer bringing them to this point, but they just couldn't get over the hump and get out of the first round because they ran into Denton Ryan and the last 2 years in the first round. But I think if Coach Peterman can get the guys believing in what he does, that Gerard should take off this year, be one of the top receivers in Tarrant County.
You mean to tell you what you guys are about to get over at Brewer? I've covered Coach Peterman for the past couple of years over at DeSoto. Great friend. I love the guy. He's a big family type of coach. He's a player's coach, and they love that. They buy into what he brings because It's good stuff. What he's bringing is the truth. He brings a fast, quick tempo, fast offense, kind of like Oregon. It's going to be super fast, some stuff that people aren't used to seeing over there on that side, on the Fort Worth side. So he's got a lot of big coaches that he brought from DeSoto. He is also
right, and that's kind of what.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That's kind of what they've been working on this spring. Coach Peterman and his staff have really taken the bulls by the horn, so to speak. And the practice tempo is different. The kids are starting to buy in, and I think Gerard Taylor will benefit the most from this because he's already got the potential, but he just needs to get seen. He needs to get the look that he hadn't been getting before. And I think also Coach Peterman and his staff put an emphasis on recruiting, which is what Brewer hasn't had in the past with some of the athletes they had over there that, just didn't get seen. I think this guy is on the verge of breaking out, and you heard it here first on Texas Prospects that Gerard Taylor will be a household name by the time the 2018 season is over.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. We love what Brewer's doing because, of course, I'm a big fan of Coach Peterman, and he's got a lot of coaches that I know. He also has Coach Clint Bartell that used to be over at Grand Prairie High School as a defensive coordinator. And now he's over there coaching. You heard it here first. That's a drop of the dime that not a lot of people know about. And Coach Peterman's has been making big moves. He's got a lot of big-time coaches on his staff, and he hopes to install that in his middle school and bring them up. So in the next 3 to 4 years, he'll have a powerhouse.
Yes, sir.
So it starts really with the middle school. Once you get there, you install that in your middle school. You install the program, you install the offense, you install the defense, and then you run it through the middle school on up.
Right, and that's kind of what Coach Peterman has done here in 2 months. He's hit the ground running. They've brought new coaches to the middle school and all through the high school. And they've made a collective effort to try to bring this program to the next level. And I think if you give this coach time and his staff, that, I would say that in the next 5 years, Brewer will be, a household name, definitely in the DFW area. Brewer's going to make some noise. You just have to give Coach Peterman time to give his imprint on that team and that school and this community.
Well, LL, do you have anything that you would like to chip in on?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, like I was saying to Coach Beaudin, the TAPS Division I North is incredibly competitive. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Bishop Lynch, Bishop Dunn, and Plano Prestonwood compete this year. And you've got a couple of state champions and some runners-up just right there. So we'll see how that looks this year for them. Also want to shout out to the Murphy twins at Bishop Lynch, Grayson and Gabriel. They were given offers to Navy, and they were a lot of fun to watch this last season. And I also want to give a Hustle Award to Tyler Beidelman, who has been sending me his stats. He was the defensive MVP at Football Showcase in Lovejoy. He is actually class of 2020 out of Lovejoy and is ranked 24th in his 2020 class for defensive tackle. And he's, I like hustle. I like it when guys want to say, hey, give me a look. So anyway, shout out Tyler and shout out to the Murphys.
Well, that's pretty awesome right there. I like that. I think that's something we could build on for each week. Have somebody, that you think gets the player of the week, maybe somebody that you see on the internet that's working hard. Maybe we could start that so people can send in videos of themselves working hard and we can see who works the hardest. We'll have a Who Works the Hardest award each week. We won't really have an award, but we'll give you a shout out, and that will be your award, is getting a shout out. Maybe we'll get some extra followers out of it, hopefully. But what we want to do with this show is we want to make it easy access for everybody to be able to listen to it. So we just want to thank everybody who has listened to it. And if anybody has anything else, now's your chance to go ahead and chime in. Other than that, I'm about to cue the music.
All right, well, You can follow us at FridayNightGlory.com. Also, Friday Night Glory on Twitter. You can also follow me or send everything to Markin44 on Twitter or On The Mark Sports on Twitter.
And you can find me at LLMAJER, LL Major on Twitter. And if you are a TAPS player or team, let me know about you.
Gossip41 on Twitter, Gossip41 High School Sports on Facebook.
And I am MDZ Go on Twitter. Thank you guys so much.